Frank Gehry is a Canadian architect born in 1929. He has lived in the USA most of his lifetime. His designs are known because of its peculiar and innovative forms. His own private residence is one of the most famous designs he had made. This house has become a tourist attraction. His best-known work include the titanic covered Guggenheim, the Bilbao Museum, Spanish Basque Country, Walt Disney Concert Hall in downtown Los Angeles, Experience Music Project in Seattle, Weizmann Art Museum in Minneapolis, Dancing House in Prague, Czech Republic and the Marta Museum in Herford, Germany. He became an architect in 1954 and then studied urbanism in Harvard University. He worked in Victor Gruen Studio. He has his own studio in Los Angeles. He had been working on his personal style and gaining lots of international and national prizes. His architecture is outstanding and usually built with unfinished materials. He uses various geometrical shapes in a same building to create a peculiar form between them. In his designs, the facades are most of the time made with metal. Now, I'm going to talk about the architectural style. Much of Gehry's work falls within the style of deconstructivism, that is referred for the ability to go beyond current modalities of a structural definition. In architecture, its application tends to depart from modernism. Gehry's own Santa Monica residence is a commonly cited example of the deconstructivism architecture, as it was so drastically divorced from its original context, and in such a manner as to subvert its original spatial intention. Gehry's style at times seemed unfinished or even crude, but his work is consistent with the California funk art movement in the 1960s and early 1970s, which featured the use of inexpensive found objects and non-traditional media to take serious art. However, a retrospective exhibit at New York's Whitney Museum in 1988 revealed that he is also a sophisticated classical artist who knows European art history and contemporary sculpture and painting.
To show the true style of this polemic architect, here is a brief study of one of his most known designs, which is the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain. The Guggenheim Museum is like a big and very singular sculpture built with amazing materials like stone, titanium, and glass. The building integrates itself in Bilbao city and has a very clear urban plan. In very general terms, the project consists in volumes and forms that articulate around a central atrium, a monumental and void space crowned by a metallic dome that allows light entrances that spans the whole space. The interior of the museum is less complicated than the exterior, although it has also organic and curved elements. Even though the interior is very diaphanous, we can distinguish 3 floors. At the end of a long stairs is the main entrance, which leads to a huge 50 meters high that from the floor plan view looks like a flower. This hall gives access to the Gran Sala, the bell-shaped spaces, rectangular spaces, and a terrace in the north side of the building. In the center of the hall, there is a pillar and a palm tree-shaped sculpture that accentuates the importance of this big space. The biggest hall in his museum is the Gran Sala, which is also known as the Fish Hall because of its shape. Because of its dimensions, this hall keeps art pieces of great size, some permanent and some temporaries. The light is a very important part of this museum. Since it's an organic shaped building, it has very peculiar and interesting light entrances. In terms of circulation, this museum is very complex. It has 19 galleries, all with different shapes and lines, that connect to each other through curvilinear footbridges, glass-made elevators, and state towers. All of the variety and richness of the spaces gives this unique building an exceptional variety. Although Gehry's projects are very interesting and rich spaces, he has got some criticism about them, like, for example, the buildings waste structural resources by creating functionless forms, or that the buildings apparently designed without accounting for the local climate, or the spectacle of the building often overwhelms its attended use, especially in the case of museums and arenas. The buildings do not seem to belong in their surroundings. But despite all of these critics about Franz Gehry's work, he is one of the architects that consider the architecture as an art. He thinks that when the building is finished, it must be a piece of art, a sculpture. He has worked with this through hand by hand with other aspects like the functions of the building and the integration of the spaces, and that makes him a true valuable architect in our times.